Hey, welcome back to Rocket City Yardstead. I'm Sarah and this is my kitchen. Um, so I'm getting ready to do my seed starting here probably this afternoon actually. And so I thought it would be a fun time to sit down and talk about seeds and what varieties I'm planning on planting. Specifically, the nightshades that I'm planting, tomatoes, peppers, tomatillos, eggplants, but also the flower varieties I'm planting because maybe you all would have some recommendations for me and that would be fantastic. So let's get started. I thought, let's see. I divvied everybody out into categories. So we can start with the cherry tomatoes I'm going to plant this year. All of these are ones that I've grown before. Um, and I really love them. And I love what they look like when they're all, you just have a big bucket of cherry tomatoes and all of the different colors and sizes and shapes. And it's just so pretty. Plus, it adds some taste differences too. So the first one I'm going to start with is Purple Bumblebee. I love these tomatoes. They're really tasty, but they also are just a beautiful tomato. They're this deep red, slightly burgundy color, and they have stripes on them. And then similarly, I'm going to do these Sunrise Bumblebee tomatoes. Now, at first, I was a little unsure about these, but you get into late summer and you pick one in the afternoon when it's hot and the tomatoes have dried out a little bit, and they just have this flavor that honestly does sort of remind you of sunshine. It's just warm and fruity and delicious, and these will always get a spot in my garden. Black cherry tomatoes. I kind of think of these as like the cherry tomato version of a Cherokee purple, which are my favorite tomato. um, These are just really prolific in my garden and they have a rich kind of smoky flavor to them, and I just love them a lot. The next one is a sun gold tomato. Now, I typically try and plant tomatoes and really any vegetable that I can save seeds from because I like to be able to save seeds and grow things true to form. But these are an F1 hybrid. But I've tried other yellow tomatoes, gold, orange, anything in that kind of family. And I hadn't loved them. And these were just so sweet, almost like eating garden candy when we grew these. We bought a plant at the store that, we paid like $6 for. And so last year I ordered seeds from Johnny Seeds and started them myself. And it was much more economical to do that way. Now, this last one I have never grown from seed before. It is a super sweet 100 VF hybrid. Now, I've grown the super sweet 100 before. I bought those as plants as well. And they are just my favorite of the little red cherry tomatoes that I've found. I've tried a few heirloom varieties and I haven't been a huge fan. So if you have a suggestion for an heirloom variety, I would love to hear it. But for this year, super sweet 100s are the way I'm going. Next, let's talk about the large tomatoes I'm growing. Now, this includes slicers and paste tomatoes, and some of them apparently you can use easily in both capacities, which I'm really excited about. So the first one is a mortgage lifter tomato. Now, this is a really traditional large red slicing tomato. I grew these last year's and by far the biggest tomato I've ever grown. Now, I'm definitely not on par with some of those people who are growing 2, 3, 4 pound tomatoes. This tomato was just shy of a pound and it was beautiful and delicious. And honestly, I don't think I need tomatoes any bigger than that, but it's a tried and true winner for me. So we will keep going with that one. Next, I'm going to do Amish paste tomatoes. I grew these last year and these grew so many beautiful tomatoes for me, and I was able to put up a lot of sauces and salsas and all kinds of things with these. I actually have some bags in the freezer that I need to turn into tomato soup still. But so this is another one going in my garden. Also, I should note that all but one of these tomatoes are indeterminate types. I have one variety that will be a determinate that I'll put in cages. Okay, so Cherokee purples. These are, like I mentioned when I talked about cherry tomatoes, these are my favorite tomato. They have just this rich, kind of smoky flavor to them. My understanding is that these tomatoes that are almost like burgundy colored, they have just a more umami flavor to them, and that is what I like apparently. So we're gonna plant these because these will always have a spot in the garden. Next are all tomatoes that I've not grown before. So last year, when we grew the sun gold tomatoes and we loved them so much, I went looking to see if I could find any information about large slicing tomatoes that had a similar flavor. And these pineapple tomatoes came up as having a similar flavor to the sun golds. Wouldn't it be fun to just have something with that rich, sweet, fruity kind of flavor on a tomato sandwich? So they're also really beautiful tomatoes. So this is just an experiment for me, and I hope we really like them, but this is going to go in the garden this year. So the next one I'm growing because I saw Jess from Roots and Refuge talk about it. It's an Abe Lincoln. The thing that's really appealing about this tomato to me is that it's supposed to be great for canning and slicing. And I have a decent sized garden, but it is fairly limited. I can't just grow all the tomatoes. And so I really need to be thoughtful and picky a little bit about what tomatoes I put in the ground. And so again, this is an experiment, but I'm hoping it's going to work really well for me. Now, the last tomato I'm going to grow in the garden is the one variety that's a determinate. It's a Roma VF. So last year, when I was doing lots of canning, making sauces and salsas and all the things, I found myself having to sort of wait a few days for just like a couple more tomatoes to come in. And so I have some space where I can put some tomato cages in, and determinate tomatoes are supposed to come in more all at the same time rather than spread out like indeterminates do. And so my hope is that by growing a handful of these determinate paste tomatoes, I'm never just going to have to sit and wait for a couple of days on my tomatoes. Okay, so now that we've gone through the tomatoes, let's talk peppers. I have a stack of the sweet peppers I'm going to grow this year. So the first three I can talk about all at once. My mom really loves the lunchbox peppers that you can buy in bags at the grocery store, just to snack on. And so I have yellow, red, and orange of all the lunchbox peppers. So I'll plant just a few of those so that she can have those for snacking on. So the next one I'm going to grow is new to me. I bought the seed pack a couple of years ago, and so I hope it's still viable, hopefully. But these are called Cornito Rosso snacking peppers. And they, when I looked them up online, said that they are about a half size of a Corno de Toro pepper. And so I thought, well, they'd be good for snacking. They might be good for stuffing, like a sweet jalapeno popper kind of thing. And they just look like they're really pretty. So we're going to give these a go. Also, I'm growing full-size Corno de Toro peppers. Last year, I had a really hard time with some of my seeds germinating. They were getting a little bit older, and I think maybe that was part of the problem. But I found Corno de Toro peppers at a local store, and I bought them, and I had no idea what they were like. And they were delicious, and they grew really well in my garden. I actually have quite a few of them chopped up and frozen in my freezer. And so I got some seeds from MI Gardener, and we're going to grow those again this year. Now, these are one of my favorite peppers, these Edgevarsky peppers. I don't know if I said that correctly or not. I've had really good luck with these in the past. Last year, my older seeds were some of the ones that didn't germinate well for me, and that's why I needed to go look for sweet peppers at the store. But I got a new seed pack, and we're going to grow more of these because I love them, and they're fantastic roasted. In the fall, if they're still green, I just pick them green and chop them up and freeze them like bell peppers, and they're wonderful. And then the last one I'm going to grow is brand new to me. It's called a New Mex Joe Parker. if you can't tell, I really like red roasting peppers. And so we're just giving another variety a try. This one said it's a great roasting pepper. It's got thick walls, doesn't have a ton of seeds. It ticked all the boxes for me in the description. So hopefully this is going to go really well. Okay, hot peppers. So I love cayenne peppers because I like to make hot sauce out of them. And last year I accidentally bought a blend of seeds. And it says that it has purple ones and yellow ones. I only planted a couple of these last year, and I did end up with a purple one, and I really kind of just thought that was fun. So I'm going to stick with the seed pack again this year, but we're only going to grow one or two of these. And so it's just kind of a crapshoot. That's maybe not the nicest term, but honestly, I just don't know what color pepper I'll end up with. But I think that's kind of fun. And cayennes are cayennes as far as I'm concerned. They're going to give me the same flavor. The color might just be different. Okay, next is Craig's Grande jalapenos, because I like to can jalapenos, pickled jalapenos. I like to freeze dry jalapenos. We like to make jalapeno poppers. These are just really important in our garden. They go in our salsas and things of that nature, and so lots of jalapenos. Serrano chilies. I grew one of these last year, and I just enjoyed having another small hot pepper to put in stuff. So we're going to try growing some more of these. Now, last year I had trouble with my Craig's Grande jalapenos, and so I bought these jalapeno gigantea, and I thought I would give these a try this year as well. Big Jim peppers. These are, my understanding anyway, is they're a lot like an Anaheim. They may even be a variety of an Anaheim. But they were just a nice size green chili, basically. You can let them go red. I normally pick them green, and I will roast them and peel them, chop them up, and either can or freeze. But they are a great replacement for the store-bought canned green chilies. And then the last one is an ancho grande pepper. This is a variety of poblano, and we are really big fans of chili rellenos. We make chili relleno casseroles. Also, they can just be chopped up like the Big Jims and turned into diced green chilies as well. So gonna have plenty of these in the garden too. Okay, so the last two things in my nightshade family of vegetables are Rio Grande Verde tomatillos. Salsa verde is probably my favorite thing that I can. We go through a lot of it, and so we need a lot of these in the garden. I think last year I ended up with about 24 pints of salsa verde, and I'm hoping that we can have our plants be just as prolific this year. Now, this is somewhere I wanted to ask a question. I bought seeds for purple tomatillos, and my purple tomatillos ended up being eggplants. And so I love the green ones, and I don't really know if it's worth getting more purple tomatillos. And so if you have grown purple tomatillos, did you like them? Were they as good as the green ones? Were you happy you grew them? Just let me know, because at this point I think I'm just going to stick with the green tomatillos, but I would still like to know what people think of the purple ones. And then finally, I'm just growing the traditional old Black Beauty eggplant. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you might have seen the cooking video where I had lemony eggplant caponata that I used as a pasta sauce. We also are really big fans of baba ganoush, like eggplant parmesan. And so I'm really happy with just the traditional Black Beauty eggplants, although some of those other varieties are really pretty. But if you know of another eggplant variety that is tasty and prolific and delicious, let me know, because I'm not opposed to growing more. But just at this point, these are the ones I found to be all I need, really. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is flowers. I love flowers, and I love to be able to pick a big, beautiful bouquet every week or so for the house and just go out in the backyard and cut flowers and come in and arrange them. I'm not very good at arranging flowers, but they're just so pretty and I like to have them in the house. So I have come to the point where I'm mostly growing my flowers in grow bags. A couple of years ago, when lumber was so expensive, ended up getting 12-foot long grow bags from Smart Pots. I have two of them, and we've moved them into our raised bed garden. And we've tried growing some other things in them, but I don't know if it's the soil I have or what, but things haven't really thrived in there. But this past summer, 2023, I grew zinnias in them and they did so wonderfully. And so my goal is like drought tolerant flowers that I can use for making bouquets. And so with that, I went shopping. And cosmos, zinnias, those are the things that I really found that I'm familiar with, that I love, that I plan on planting in those grow bags. But I looked for some interesting varieties that looked a little bit different, and so that's what I'll be growing. But if you have any recommendations for drought tolerant flowers that are good for bouquets, I would be thrilled to hear about it, because it does seem to me like that is my best bet for those grow bags. So let's start with the flowers. The first one I'm going to grow, I've been wanting to grow for a couple of years and I just haven't gotten the seeds for. But it's this apricot lemonade Cosmo. I just think they look like the most beautiful little flowers and I can't wait to have them in the garden. So we'll stick with Cosmos for now. I got something called a double click snow puff. There's no picture on the packet. I'll see if I can find a picture and I'll throw it up here on the screen. But these are just like this big puffy ball of white petals, and I thought they would be really pretty in a bouquet. And then cupcake white cosmos. These are supposed to look like, and I kind of can see it in the photos on the website, that they look a little bit like the wrapper of a cupcake, and they're just really pretty and unique. And again, I thought they'd be pretty in a bouquet. The next is my zinnias. I am in love with the Queenie Lime zinnias. Last year, the only variety I bought, it was the first time I bought them, was the blush Queenie Lime, and it was my favorite flower in the garden. So I still have some of those seeds left, and I will definitely be planting those again. But my new seeds that I got this year are Queenie Lime Red. And I only got this one other variety of Queenie Lime. I might consider some more next year. I got a zinnia called Cinderella Peach. This one is just such a unique shape and just so pretty. And I thought it would just add some contrast and difference in my bouquets. Oklahoma Salmon Zinnia. This color is beautiful. I really like the look of the flower. And my mom and dad are both from Oklahoma. So that also seemed kind of like a fun tie-in to say we had a flower that part of the name was Oklahoma. And then last are the cactus flowered mix zinnias. I've had one cactus flower zinnia in my garden before. It came from just a mixed seed pack. It was this beautiful red cactus zinnia and I loved it. It was the very first year I gardened. I knew nothing about seed saving, and so it didn't even occur to me to save seeds from it. And so this year I decided I was going to have some more of those in my garden. So that is everything that I'm getting ready to start in the next day or so. But like I said, I would love for your recommendations if you have a cherry tomato, a big tomato, peppers, eggplants, any of those things that you love. But also drought tolerant flowers that are great for cutting and putting into bouquets. I also really love that when I go out in the garden, these flowers tend to be covered in butterflies and little native bees. And I just like seeing all of that in the garden and knowing that the pollinators are getting what they need and I'm getting what I need. And it just all works out for everybody. So that is where I'm going to wrap it up. So thank you for watching. I look forward to your recommendations, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.